ChatGPT just launched a bunch of brand new upgrades that are mind-blowing. They now have a brand new skills feature which allows you to automate things and get it to do the same task over and over again. In addition to that, they just launched a bunch of brand new models and several other changes. And by the end of this video, you're going to know about all these changes, how to access them, and what new use cases they unlock. The first change that we need to talk about is going to be that ChatGPT released a bunch of brand new models. So now if we come over here to the model selector, we're going to see that there are 4 models right here. The first one is going to be auto. I would strongly suggest that you do not use this. It's incredibly inefficient and you're going to get way slower answers. The way that I would think about this is if you are just asking a question, you're doing research, basically you're interacting with ChatGPT the same way that you would interact with Google, you want to use instant right here. For example, what is the square root of 169? This is then going to reply to us instantly right here and give us a pretty good answer. And essentially what ChatGPT has done with their new 5.3 upgrade is they've made this as smart as thinking and pro mode on the older and the other models. Now, this is the one that you want to use if you're just asking it a very simple question like that. If you want to actually allow this to have more context, for example, let's say that we were coming over here and we were starting a new chat, you turn on thinking right here, you'll be able to change this to light, to standard, to extended, and to heavy, and we could see that this is going to change how long ChatGPT is actually going to think. But in addition to that, it's also going to increase the context window. Because if we actually come into ChatGPT's release notes right here, we could see, and this was a silent update that I actually didn't see until this morning, that we could see right here that when thinking mode is turned on, the total context window is going to be 256,000 tokens, 128K input, 128K max output, and when you manually select thinking, it's going to turn this on. Previously, it was only 196,000 tokens, so that is about a 25% increase in the amount of tokens. So you're going to want to use thinking mode. Let's say that we were coming over here and I was going to add in some data here. For example, let's say that I was going to get it to analyze my customer spend data, and I was going to come over here and say, please do a churn report on this data. We would want to turn on thinking mode because this data right here has a bunch of different information that we're going to want this to actually allow to go through and do. In addition to that, we could see that we could also add in follow-up questions here. So if we think of another question while this is going through and doing this, we'll be able to actually interrupt this and we'll be able to ask it that question, and we can actually click into thinking right here and see all of the thinking and all of the activity that this is actually doing. Now, the other mode that we are going to see is if we come over into new chat right here, we're going to see Pro. This is going to be for research grade intelligence. More likely than not, you are not going to have to use this. The only time you would ever do this is if you're doing like some really hefty engineering product, some really hefty coding project, or if you're doing something that's like life sciences or just science in general, you're going to want to turn that on. But for 99% of us out there, we're just going to have to use instant mode. We're just going to have to use thinking mode, depending on whether or not we're getting this to do some analysis or we're giving it a ton more information. But we could see under Pro here that we could see standard and we could see extended. If you're using Pro mode, I would always just be using the extended version. Now, the next new feature that I want to show you is going to be inside of your settings right here, and it's going to be skills. So now when you come over into settings right here, we're going to see skills. And if we click on this right here is incredible. This allows you to actually automate things with ChatGPT, because essentially what this allows you to do, as it explains right here, is turn repeated workflows into skills. So skill is basically going to stop the LLM like ChatGPT from hallucinating. These were originally rolled out by Claude, but now we could see that they're getting rolled out into every LLM. So creating a skill allows you to do work by automating the same exact steps every time with zero room for hallucination. ChatGPT makes this incredibly easy to do. So basically we can see right here that these are instructions that extend ChatGPT's capabilities. If we click on new skill right here, we could create one inside of a chat. We can create it with editor, or we can upload it, and ChatGPT actually uses an open model of this. So if you have skills inside of Claude that you like or inside of another tool, you could upload them directly into here from your computer. So let's come over here and actually create a new skill. We're going to say, help me create a skill, keep it conversational, and start by asking what skills should do. And this is actually then going to go through, and this is going to keep asking us questions until we actually create our new skill. In addition to that, we could also see the skill creator right here, which we're going to be able to actually try in chat. And basically what this is a skill that ChatGPT made in order to actually get us to be able to create things. For example, create a skill for weekly marketing updates, S3 clarifying questions, then output is skill.mdd, draft, plus a short checklist for validating tone and length. This will actually be able to allow us to do this. In addition to that, if we come over here into new skill and click on create with editor, this is where you can actually go through and you can write your own skill instructions if you are good at actually creating skills. The other thing that I really like to do is, let's say that we have this skill right here. I like to actually come into this. I like to share this or just grab what's actually inside of this skill, and we could see all the different things that are in here between the scripts, the text, the different references. But basically, I like to come over here, copy this and say, hey, I want to make a skill just like this, except for this, and then it will actually modify that incredibly easy. And then again, you'll have all these different skills here that you'll be able to call on inside of your chat in order to automate tasks that otherwise wouldn't have been automatable. And we can see right here that skills are now available in ChatGPT Business, Enterprise, EDU, Teachers, and Healthcare. And it's also supported in Codex and in the API. And I would guess the regular consumer version of ChatGPT is probably going to get this sometime this week. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you isn't actually going to be a change to ChatGPT, and we're going to get back into those changes in just a second. It's actually going to be a Chrome extension that I would strongly suggest that you use if you're using ChatGPT. We can see right here the My Prompt Buddy Chrome extension, and this basically has two features that are absolutely incredible. The first one is shortcuts right here. If you use the same prompt over and over again, you could have these shortcuts directly here, so you could just copy, paste it, you could X out of this, and you have your shortcuts here so that you don't have to go search for them in your notes and you don't have to type them out again. It's just a way more efficient way to actually use ChatGPT. In addition to that, if we come back over here, we could see that we could actually choose what kind of prompt we're going to be creating. For example, let's say that I was having this write a newsletter. I could say something like write an Alex Hermosi style newsletter for contentbuddy.ai. Our ideal output is a high converting direct sales email, and then we could click on optimize right here. And what this is actually going to do, instead of us using our current prompt right here in ChatGPT, which would give us kind of a lame answer, this instead is going to optimize this prompt and give us this world-class prompt right here that we can copy and paste, and we can see this gives it the situation, gives it the task, gives it the objective, gives it the knowledge that it should have, and we could come over here and improve it even further with these different questions. For example, it actually makes this based on Alex Hermosi, like Gram Slam offer or specific target or whatever the case is, and then we could have it actually regenerate it. But using prompts like this is going to give you a 10 times better answer from ChatGPT, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're creating a video, whether or not you're creating an image or deep research or doing reasoning or a standard prompt. They help you optimize all of them literally in seconds. And the best part about mypromptbuddy.ai is that if you go to the pinned comment below, you could get started with it today for free. This tool's an absolute no-brainer. It's gonna help you create way better prompts so that you get way better results from ChatGPT, and you don't have to go back and forth with it multiple times to actually get what you want. Now, the next few updates are gonna be things that we're gonna find in the release notes right here. We can see right here that on March 4th, Codex app is now available on Windows. If you don't know what Codex is going to be ChatGPT's version of essentially Claude Code. If we come over into ChatGPT, we could actually see what it looks like right here. We could click on Codex here, and we could see that this is then going to open up. We'll be able to download the app. It's now available on Windows, and we could download the app right here. We could try it inside of our terminal, and essentially what this allows you to do is code way better. In fact, I personally think that this is better than Claude Code, and it allows you to automate things. So here's what Codex actually looks like right here, and we could see that we could choose between a bunch of different models right here. We could give it different permissions. We could choose whether it's going to do this locally, or we could connect it to Codex Web, or we could send this to the cloud, or we could connect it to our GitHub. We could see that we could get this to do anything that we want. And if we come over here to the top left-hand corner, we could see that this also has skills right here, which makes this incredibly powerful because it gives you the ability to actually add things like Sora into the apps that you're building, or creating, editing, and reviewing PDF. You could even add in Play right here, which allows you to automate real browsers from the terminal. In addition addition to that, we could see automations right here where they have tons of different automations where you could get it to summarize last week's PRs, you could get it to scan recent commits, you could get it to actually check whether or not anything's broken on your website or your app. It is absolutely incredible. And if we click on new automations right here, you could set these up if you don't want to use one of these templates right here. Now, if we come back into the release notes right here, we could also see that they also launched some other updates. For example, if we come over here, ChatGPT web and Android updates, you can now edit image prompts, you could share faster, and they have smoother conversations. So we can see right here that we can now edit messages with images. So if you were doing something that has an image attachment and you don't want to have to start over to adjust your prompt or regenerate your results, you can now edit it inside of the chat. In addition to that, you can now open search results in a new tab by doing command clicked in the search panel, which is now going to open that up. In addition to that, they have faster sharing, which allows you to share chats easier now, and it has a quick loading share menu. In addition to that, you can export visuals from code blocks. These are going to be all the different changes that we're going to see on the web version of ChatGPT. In addition to that, we could see Android right here. All of these different upgrades were announced, which allow you to automatically scroll to the last message, faster sidebar actions, improved dictation, and keyboard opens up automatically when attaching files. And then they also went through and they actually fixed all of these different bugs. So if we come over to ChatGPT, I want to show you what one of these potentially looks like. For example, I was using ChatGPT because I had to reset the clock. I accidentally put a child lock on my microwave. So I was using it to actually do this, and we could see now that if we come over here into more actions right here, that we're going to be able to branch this into a new chat, or we could very easily actually be able to share this just by clicking on this, and this gives us way more options to be able to share our ChatGPT chats, which is pretty cool if you want to share it on social media or with somebody else. In addition to that, the next change that is a massive upgrade is right here. You can now add sources to your projects from anywhere. So projects now make it easy to build a living knowledge base by adding sources wherever your context already lives. For example, you could pull in sources from apps. You could paste a link to a Slack channel or Google file or folder to be able to add it directly as a project source. You can now add in sources from chats or just ad hoc text sources. Here's how you do that. So let's say that we come over here. I have this right here, YouTube scripts. This is one of my most used projects, actually. We can see right here, we have all these different chats. If we come into sources right here, we could see that we can now very easily add in stuff from Slack. We could add in stuff from Google Drive, from a text input, or we could upload it. For example, if we click on Google Drive right here, this is going to prompt us to connect ChatGPT to the drive. We did the same thing with Slack, and this would allow us to very easily be able to add things from those external apps, those external sources into our ChatGPT. In addition to that, let's say that we're in a chat right here and we like this and we want to actually add this into a project. We can now do that incredibly easily by just coming over here to the top right hand corner. You're going to see 3 dots. My face might be covering it because of how I recorded this video, but we could see here that we could actually then move this directly into a project right here, and it will actually bring up all the different projects that we have and we can add it in there. Or we could pin a chat, we could start a group chat with it, we could archive it, report it, or delete it. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I would strongly suggest you check out this video right here that shows you the best AI presentation generator in 2026. It'll do the research for you, create your slides, and even allow you to customize them and edit them. If that sounds interesting, check it out right here.